A little while ago, I rewatched one of my favorite movies, The Thing, and paid special attention to its cinematography. Until then, I had never noticed how well shot the film is, and it got me thinking. When we think of a film's cinematography, we often admire the purely visual aspects of individual frames, stripped of their context from the story. We admire the contrast, the composition, lighting, and color. And, of course, The Thing certainly succeeds in those aspects. I mean, just look at some of these stills. And in addition to other ideas, such as isolation, distrust, and claustrophobia, most notable to me in terms of its visual aesthetic was how well the film captures the relationship between the cold environment and the warm hostility of fire, the only way to kill the Thing. When we initially see the Thing, and when it's in some intermediate amorphous state, its distinguishing color is red, so I've also associated the color red with the Thing itself. When I think of the creature, and half the time I think of the movie as a whole, I think of red, and the cinematography enhances that. It allows the cool and warm colors, which have become associated with the two biggest threats to the crew, to clash and reinforce the underlying themes. It personifies the insidious, malicious threat of the Thing juxtaposed against the ever-present, indifferent threat of Antarctica. However, just as important as the visual appeal is how it conveys ideas through the cinematography, how the camera's movement or the framing of the subjects showcases and symbolizes certain ideas, and like the visual aesthetic before, The Thing often excels in this area too. It makes use of variety over its runtime, employing wides, close-ups, medium close-ups, high angles, low angles, and even rack focuses to evoke daunting or unsettling emotions, establish relationships between the characters, and instill the foreboding atmosphere. However, what I found most interesting and provocative in its cinematography was its use of camera movement and group shots. Though camera movement can simply be described as the continuous movement of the camera from one position or angle to another, it can also be used to visually convey emotions or ideas in ways that other techniques either can't do at all or can't do as well. Though camera movement can be used to achieve a variety of results, in The Thing, the camera movements, specifically the side-to-side ones, create a feeling of progression or regression. Sometimes they create a feeling of confusion, and other times they create a feeling of investigation or inspection. They're participative, immersing the audience into the scene and allowing us to answer the questions the film raises. Camera movements aren't just about showing one character and then another though. They should be more purposeful. In The Thing, the side-to-side movement is about connecting things, shackling the characters to one chain. When we move side to side, we observe the characters as individuals but still connected to one another, forcibly held within a group. If you ask me, these slow side-to-side shots feel like point-of-view shots, where we're taking the perspective of a detective walking through the suspects and trying to solve the case. There are many examples of this side-to-side movement throughout the film, each new context offering a slight variation in how we judge the characters, whether we perceive these suspects as guilty or innocent. The more information we learn, whether it be about the Thing specifically or the characters themselves, the more confident we become in our decisions, and consequently, the more shocked we are when the answer contradicts our expectations. Each time we see a new occurrence of this side-to-side shot, we have to recontextualize it from the information we've been given since the last one, giving us a new perspective on who's the Thing. At times, we may think nobody is a Thing. At others, we may think more than one person is a Thing. These side-to-side shots give us time to make our own conclusions, while also inundating the film with a sense of uneasiness and mystery. Like I said before, the side-to-side shots shouldn't simply show one thing and then another. That could be done with a simple cut, but that would remove something you may not notice while it's there, but whose absence feels empty. So, for a concrete example, look at this shot I edited with just simple cuts.
We're gonna draw a little bit of everybody's blood. We're gonna find out who's the Thing. Watching Norris in there gave me the idea that maybe every part of him was a whole. Every little piece was an individual animal with a built-in desire to protect its own life.
Now look at it how it is in the film, with movement.
We're gonna draw a little bit of everybody's blood. We're gonna find out who's the thing. Watching Norris in there gave me the idea that maybe every part of him was a whole. Every little piece was an individual animal with a built-in desire to protect its own life.
There's just something more unsettling about it, right? It's like it's begging you to look closer. It's inviting you to discover what's hidden. With the cuts, it's stagnant and disconnected. It's harder to feel the relationships between the characters. But with the movement, you can feel the underlying unknown threat that connects them. You get a better sense of the relationships. And that's the idea. The Thing hinges upon the relationships between its characters and their positions among the entire crew. I mean, how often do the characters' perceptions change? At points, they believe MacReady or Gary or Clark is a thing. Distrust is woven into their minds by the other characters. With so many unexpected occurrences, these standings change constantly and drastically, so consequently, there's a lot of group interactions. We often see the characters congregate and witness something surprising or extreme or discuss what new atrocity they have just witnessed. These interactions, these accusations, these interrogations, these threats and gunfights amplify the film's sense of claustrophobia. The group shots connect the characters to the same threat, and they make the characters feel somewhat indistinguishable, like a conglomerate. When we can see all the characters at the same time, it makes us look closer. It makes us inspect the frame, check for important details or clues. There's just an uncertainty when you look at the screen and there's so many characters and objects in the frame at the same time, a prevailing sense of danger that never really goes away. The idea that someone, something could be lurking is frightening. I mean, look at this shot, right before the blood test. Palmer is revealing his true allegiance. We just don't know it. We're too preoccupied with the story at large, or maybe we just miss Palmer specifically. Either way, the hints are hidden in plain sight. We just have to find them. However, though there's plenty of group shots, like I said before, to build on the tone it's established and to reinforce the sense of distrust, the film often slowly moves through them rather than only showing one wide shot. Sometimes it may be easier to just pull the camera back and show them all at once, but like the cut example before, it would lose something. The side-to-side shots create a feeling of isolated connectivity, the idea that while they are indeed together, they have become separate, combative. There's a strain in their closeness, a danger in their proximity. It's important to understand the difference between the static group shots and dynamically moving through the group, what each of them mean and do. The group shots are like a giant cage housing them all together, and the side-to-side shots are like chains, linking them. It's like they're raising a question. They're asking you to offer some kind of verdict. They're suspects, and the cinematography makes you be the judge. So, who's the thing?